Before we get into the webinar, I would like to give a brief introduction about what we do here at Streams, your speakers for the day, and the agenda for the webinar. Okay. We at Streams provide a comprehensive data-driven solution for sales readiness and frontline enablement teams to boost revenue and productivity. Our customers span across 74 different countries, 31 different languages, and multiple industry verticals, including technology, insurtech, banking, automotive, and consumer durables. We have enabled our customers to onboard, train, and upskill over 200,000 sales reps and widely dispersed distributor networks with our purpose built application proven methodologies and best practices. We also enable sales leaders to continuously assess, refresh, and reinforce knowledge and behaviors that ensure exceptional sales performances repeatedly. Moving on to our speakers for the day. Our first speaker is Raghuram Bhuvaneshwaram. Raghu is a senior product manager looking after advanced analytics and sales capabilities development in Streams. He has previous experience in industrial abrasives, FMCG, and telecom sectors and has worked in India, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East for the last 30 years. His work has been in sales, supply chain, and in IT for sales teams, including distributor management systems. He has previously worked at organizations like Saint-Gobain, Microsoft, Marico, Nokia. Our next speaker is Dolly Singh. Dolly is the head of customer success and operations at Streams, and she has been with us since our initiation. She comes with 13 plus years of experience in technology and running sales engagement programs for large enterprises across the globe. If you'd like to connect with any of them, you please do so on LinkedIn. All you have to do is scan the QR code. Okay, coming to the agenda. To start off, we have Raghu, who will take you through the traditional and emerging challenges of sales onboardings that most, if not all, sales capability managers face when they're onboarding new hires. He will also touch upon how you can effectively solve these challenges. After that, Dolly will further elaborate on how you can overcome these challenges by using a framework that we've built by taking you through a real life success case with one of our customers. And finally, we will wrap things up with the Q&A session. We have some exciting polls along the way for you, and we hope you will help us make this webinar super interactive. Please feel free to drop in any comments, any questions that you have in the Q&A section of the chat, and we'll be happy to address them in the Q&A session. Okay, without further ado, I will hand it over to Raghu. Raghu, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Maitri. I will start the screen share and start talking in a second. I hope you guys can see my screen. Yeah, it says so. Thank you, Maitri. Thank you for the introduction about our organization as well as myself and Dolly, and also setting the context. So just to restate the context and the portion that I will be taking this particular group through is about sales onboarding and specifically slide. Yeah. Sales onboarding, and we are going to talk about the onboarding of sales force that is geographically scattered. Okay, so people are coming on board in different parts of your organization, different countries, different regions. They are, in most cases, not all cases, locally recruited. Okay, the recruitment happens either by one of your business partners or it is done by a third-party agency that is acting on your behalf. And it also logically lends itself to directly or indirectly employed. So they could be directly on your payroll, and it is also very possible that a large number of them are indirectly employed through your distribution partners and your third-party agency. But one thing that is common to all this group is that these represent your revenue generating and the frontline sales force that is bringing in your daily revenue streams. So this process is not a new process. We have always onboarded people. We have had certain traditional challenges in the onboarding process. So what are those traditional challenges? One is they have an unsupervised or a partly supervised onboarding. The partly supervised could take shape of face-to-face, a couple of days of face-to-face. So people are not able to afford more face-to-face time beyond that because people have their regular work to do as well. And unsupervised is also very much happening. In fact, in most of the cases, your sales rep joins in a different part of the country. He probably has some time with your distribution partner, and after that, he is considered as onboarded. So pretty much unsupervised or partially supervised onboarding is happening, traditional challenge. And the second one is the sales reps join at any point in time. It is typically a lateral hire. You are replacing a person who is leaving or a new role that has opened up. So it is a lateral hire. So people join as and when the process is completed, the recruitment process is completed, and not necessarily as a cohort. The only time probably you experience a cohort is when there is a group of, let's say, management trainees or sales trainees who are coming on board. But otherwise, you rarely have a cohort who join practically at the same time, and where you can throw your resources in significant measure to make sure their onboarding is of the best quality. So on top of these traditional challenges, we are having emerging challenges. Okay, so partly dictated by the environment around us and also events that have happened around us. The first one is there is a significant churn across industries. So we are talking about the sales group, right? So the same sales talent is now fungible across multiple industries. Earlier, they would stick to FMCG or durables or industrial sales kind of a thing. But now the same talent, you will see people moving across banking, e-commerce, retail, and so on. In fact, I know of some colleagues who over a period of, let's say, 6 to 7 years, have moved from FMCG to banking to e-commerce and now are in telemarketing. So, yeah, and it's not one or two. There are a decent number of people who have done these transitions. So essentially what it means is your talent is poachable. It is in our own interest to give them a really good onboarding experience. The next is hybrid onboarding has become a new norm. So people join, let's say if I take India as a sample country. So somebody is joining in Visakhapatnam and your company's headquarters is Gurgaon, for example. So most cases, and particularly in the post-COVID scenario, it invariably starts with your official devices, be it a laptop, be it a mobile phone, being just couriered across to the person and he is joining. Sometimes it is their own device that they are using to join. And the onboarding starts. So the person has not even left his location, his place of work, and his onboarding has started. It's a hybrid onboarding. And it is becoming hugely acceptable, particularly in the post-COVID side. And the third one is the teams are scattered across the geography. So we saw that your hires are scattered across the geography. So now we have the other side, the people who are going to train them also are scattered across geographies. So I know of a regional team of APAC where the team is practically virtual. Different managers in the virtual team are located in different countries. They are not even in the same country. Somebody is operating out of Vietnam, somebody is operating out of Indonesia, but they are part of the regional team. So now you have a matrix situation. Your hires are all geographically scattered, the managers who will onboard them are also geographically scattered. So essentially, the sheer complexity of scheduling all the face-to-face interactions or onboarding has become really huge. And taking off from the first point about the significant churn, a new hire has made a decision to join your organization. And it is probably the first period is when he or she needs to be made feel that they have made the right choice. Okay, you have incurred the effort as well as the expense in recruiting this person. You have identified her as possibly the best candidate and fill the position. Now it is time to really show them that they matter and invest the energies in them. So we saw about the challenges, the traditional challenge and the emerging challenges that are playing into the onboarding exercise. But at the same time, there are expectations, and these expectations have not changed over a period of time. So the first key expectation is scale up the new hire on probably compliance. The compliance could be something as simple as, have they set up their device? Are they on the company's network, mobile or laptop, whatever it is. It could also, in some cases, we have seen instances where companies have specific compliance programs which they need to go through, particularly very commonly seen in multinational organizations where it is mandatory, and their going through this session is actually documented somewhere in the system. The second is brand messaging. The new hire has to skill up on brand messaging. You can't have very confused messaging going out. The older team saying a different selling proposition or a USP about your product, and the newer team talking something very different. They need to be completely aligned on your brand messaging. And third, I rate it very important because you have picked up a good resource. You have picked him up basically because he or she is a very good salesperson. But you need to induct them into your organization's way of working. What I have noticed is the way of working is primarily, let's say, defined by how do you make a sales call. So organizations have taken a lot of pain to document what they think needs to be a proper sales call. So it starts with a greeting, you talk about the product, promotions, then you get into ordering. Then there are certain mandated activities to be done in the particular retail outlet using FMCG parlance. And then you depart again after wishing your customer. And more importantly, the KPI part. Each organization has evolved its KPI again over a period of time to suit what drives their sales. And as much as your salesperson is very competent, the new hire, there is a need to skill them up on these KPIs. I handled an organization where productivity, something as simple as what is a productive call, is measured in different ways within the same organization, and the same measure is measured very differently between different countries of the same organization. Okay, so your person has to be skilled up in terms of the understanding of the KPIs because it is going to drive their behavior. In fact, it is going to drive their incentives, which all of us know is a very important motivator of any salesperson. And you also, when you're doing all this in terms of scaling up, you have a need to make the new hire feel part of the company. They are already sort of blending into the organization is what you need to ensure. And the scale up is happening as per onboarding standard operating procedure, SOP, that is probably defined by the capability team, which is responsible for onboarding. So the standard operating procedure, SOP, defines the time frame in which the onboarding is happening. So if you happen to do a search on Google, you will find a lot of content around this time frame part. The most popular one that I've seen is there is a 30-day onboarding time frame, 60 or a 90. These are the three common time frames that are mentioned. But based on our experience, as we have taken some of our customers through this, is the time frame is not definable. It is actually defined by the customer. The customer decides how much it takes for a new hire to be productive, and that determines their onboarding horizon. And as this time frame progresses, you have clear checkpoints or goalposts within the time frame. And some of them require documentation. For example, compliance. There is a mandatory documentation that is required. They leave a fingerprint in the system, which represents the documentation. But in any case, the goalposts are important. So, for example, has the person set up the devices? Second, have they had the initial 1 or 2 days of face-to-face? That is a goalpost. Generally, we pair them with a much more experienced sales hand, very commonly referred to as buddy. Not everybody uses the same word, but just pairing them with an experienced salesperson. Has it happened? You know, you have mandated it as a standard operating procedure, but is it really happening? Is something that we need to measure, because let's say the experienced sales hand or buddy pairing, it might have happened, but did they just have a hi, hello, or a coffee together? Or did they actually work together? Because that's the best way to do the knowledge transfer. So a human being talking to another human being and downloading what he thinks are the important areas that the new hire needs to scale upon. That, has it happened or not? That is what is important to measure. And lastly, the feedback loop. The person is new and we are deluging him with content, documents, face-to-face, other means of sharing, putting him up with a partner who takes him to the market. So, but a human being's capacity is also constrained. You just can't take in content at that enormous rate. So you need to open yourself for feedback. Allow the new hire to have an open channel where they have certain doubts, where they want to understand better. They should be able to reach out to people who are in a position to help them. And similarly, the reverse direction. So the capability manager, the sales managers, or a local partner should be able to communicate back to them in terms of where they see an opportunity to improve. And the last one, which is very, very important from a capability manager or probably even the HR's point of view, is to have a centralized visibility to the onboarding progress. Remember, people are joining at different points in time. Somebody joined on 5th, somebody joined on 22nd, and they are going through their own cycle. Let's say your organization has a 20-day onboarding cycle. So they go through their own onboarding cycle. But you need to know who is where, and have they cleared the checkposts on time and in good quality. And that determines their time to first sale. And this is a very important criteria for a capability manager, because otherwise they are literally operating blind. Yes, we do have the traditional and the emerging challenges. And we also have the expectations, which are very strong, and they are playing into these challenges. But we have new tools, processes, which are strongly supported by technology, that allow us to meet these challenges and even exceed what is traditionally done. So the first key constraint or major constraint that capability managers say is that our guys are joining not as a cohort. They are joining at different points in time. It's becoming very impossible to track. Okay. But what we can confidently tell is that the cohort-based induction need not be a constraint anymore. Okay. you can actually allow each of the new hires to march to their own journey of onboarding, and you can make them start learning right from the word go, from your day one. And secondly, I spoke about the deluge of information facing any new hire. All of us have experienced it at different points in time. But what we can really support the new hire with is giving them content which is on demand and allowing them to go through it at leisure and pace themselves through it. So they can grasp what they can from the deluge, but wherever they have open gaps in terms of understanding, they can bridge it by using the self-paced learning. And you can conduct knowledge checks. Okay, so you can have a series of questions which will test their knowledge. You can have assessments, you can call them quizzes if you want, but these help you identify where the hire is in, what is the level of learning that he or she is displaying, and you can actually target the weaker areas and plug the gaps that the hire is having. And you can actually go beyond the traditional measurement of readiness. Okay, the traditional measurement of readiness is nothing but a checklist. So the capability manager is having, okay, is the device on the network? Yes. Has he got inducted with the local team? Yes. Has he worked with the experienced sales and yes. But we have much better measures now. Let's say, for example, a video pitch where you are able to, the person can record themselves making a pitch for some of your most important products or services from their phone and send it across. And a peer group or a managerial group can review it and say, oh, okay, this person looks really good, or this person probably needs a bit of touch in this particular area, and the feedback can go to her. The second one is to recognize the milestones. This may sound a bit superfluous because the new hire is generally eager to prove themselves, and they already are in a very excited state because it's a new organization. They want to show themselves in good light. But you can actually sort of complement it by gamifying the whole experience. So what does this gamifying mean? So a key milestone is crossed. So you recognize them. It could take the form of a congratulatory message. It could be a badge. It could be a certificate. All of these are virtual and none of this is physical. So you can gamify this experience, and that can actually make them a bit more eager to go through their journey and mark the deadlines as they go and become certified to sell in their organization. So I had taken you through the traditional and the emerging challenges, the expectations, and also how we have new tools, processes supported by technology to make the onboarding a very good experience, particularly given that the new hire needs a very good handholding before they stabilize into a performing asset within your company. But what we have also realized is the framework that we are going to talk about is actually much extendable beyond the onboarding itself. So organizations evolve, you have new products, you have new services. So essentially, there is a need to renew your sales teams itself periodically. You can define the periodicity. It can be once in 6 months, once in 3 months, whatever you think is apt for your organization. But the same process can be gone through with your team, and each team can renew its license to sell. Remember, we all have driving licenses. And wherever we live, the government will mandate us to renew the license over a period of time. Similarly, you can have a license to sell and it gets renewed over a period of time because you have newer things coming up. So with this, I will hand over to my colleague, Dolly, who will take you through a real life example of a client that we have helped go through this onboarding process. And she will talk in much more great greater detail about that particular experience. Thanks everyone, and I will hand over to Dolly.
Thank you, Raghu.
Hi, Dolly, before we move on, we have a quick poll for our audience. What are the onboarding challenges you face? Okay, we'll just end the poll now. Okay, so 64% people say that they do not have a standard process, 55% say that there is no systematic tracking of progress and time to productivity, and 27% say that they do not have sales managers involved. So this is quite interesting. We actually will have Dolly take you through these challenges which one of our customer also faced and talk about how we help them overcome these challenges. Thank you. Over to you, Dolly.
Thank you, Maitri and Raghu. I'm sharing my screen. I hope you all can see it.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Dolly. So Raghu talked about different challenges companies faces around onboarding new sales rep. What I'm going to do is take you through the real life example of enterprise onboarding challenges and how do we go about solving them. In doing so, we will also look at innovative best practices, which is catered to different industries. Let's look at why and how one of our customers is using Stream's platform to solve their onboarding challenges. The customer in question here is a large enterprise. They have broad distribution channel and they have thousands of PSRs. They primarily had three onboarding challenges. The first one, that they did not have standard onboarding process. They did have standard training material, but there was no process to train and onboard the newly joined reps. That led to inconsistencies. Every individual reps had their own approach to customer interaction and sales processes. Furthermore, there were no visibility into what process worked and what did not. The other major challenge they were facing was high time to productivity. So new joinee would take long time to become productive. And they also observed in a lot of scenarios, sales reps were using the learning and the processes they had learned and seen with their previous organizations. Since the ramp-up time was not systematically recorded, the customer was not able to accurately measure the ramp-up time for the reps as well. But it is estimated to be between 3 to 6 months. The longer they take to become productive, the higher chance of churn. And when churn happens, company not only loses a sales rep, but they also lose time and money with this whole process. To solve this complex challenge of onboarding, they needed a robust and scalable solution. So it had to be digital and automated. Also, these reps are most of the time they are on the field. So training solution had to be something which they can use whenever they need it for product training or customer related objection. So in nutshell, they needed a 24/7 friend, pocket friend, basically a mobile app. First step for us was to set up the streams platform to their business processes of onboarding a new sales reps. In order to do so, we uncovered three main important aspects of onboarding. First, what was customers' expectation from a sales rep to have learner or the new joining new reps to have learned by end of onboarding program. We also talked about and uncovered what were the activities and qualifying criteria to say that this new rep is certified now. We also defined the metrics and KPIs which customer wanted to track as part of the process. Let's now look at how exactly this onboarding process looked like for a sales rep. When a new sales rep joins, on the very first day, they are given access to the platform. Once they get the access, they log into the app. And Streams app login works on OTP based over SMS or email. It's a very easy process. The entire process takes less than a minute to get them started. Once they log in to the app, their induction starts on the very first day. And induction is basically giving them important details about their onboarding journey. So let's look at induction in more details and let's find out more about it. So induction consists of a welcome message from their senior management. It has a survey to understand more about sales reps' experience and their existing skill set. As part of induction, they are also trained on their roles and responsibilities and must have product knowledge and sales skills. As you can see on the first screenshot here, their journey is a self-learning progress base. What that means that they can see all the milestones they have to complete, but they need to complete the first milestone to move on to the second one and so on. %80 of the customers newly joined reps completed induction on the very first day itself. Once they complete the milestone 1, they move to milestone 2, which is basically about sales course. Let's look at milestone 2 to understand how all these milestones are structured. Under this milestone, they go through the courses on selling process, communication skill, and customer handling skill. In the beginning, they only can open and go through the selling process content. Once they complete that, they can move on to the other topic, which is communication skill and customer handling skill. They learn more about each topic with these bite-sized cards, which is designed for self-paced learning, and also it makes sure ease of learning. Once they complete the learning journey or the learning about a specific topic, they are given an assessment. They need to score at least 80%, which is the benchmark score set by the customer, in order to complete this milestone. And once they complete the milestone, they are given a badge. So this is how their journey for a specific milestone gets completed. Milestone 2 generally takes around 3 to 5 days for reps to complete. And that is when they are able to spend around 20 to 30 minutes every day on the app. After milestone 2, they move to milestone 3, which is advanced course. And here they're taught on how to apply those theoretical knowledge which they have learned into their real life challenges in the selling process. At this time, they're already started to interact with customers. So they would have customer objection. So they are really needed to be taught tips and tricks about handling those objections, knowing more about different types of customers. And generally, this milestone takes little longer, few weeks to complete. So how do we make sure that in this whole the few weeks of journey, the reps are engaged? So let's look at more details on how do we keep them engaged throughout this process. The system sends them personalized nudge and notification to make sure that they are able to complete pending tasks, and also they are able to refresh their knowledge. On top of that, they are able to see their skill score, so they can understand very clearly which topic they are not so good at. And AI-based recommendation helps them with recommendation on what they can improve and how they can improve after going through specific set of content. So it helps repeat, refresh, and reinforce of knowledge. The whole journey is AI powered. These reps are getting AI personalized, hyper personalized, I would say, notification and nudges, which encourages them to complete all the tasks and also help them improve their skill. At the end of each milestone, there is a gate. The gate is assessment. They need to score the benchmark score of 80% to open this gate and move forward to the following milestone. And once they do that, they also get a badge to punctuate the milestone. Now that they have completed all the milestones, they are just one step away from being certified. But before we cover that, I would like to run a poll here. Maitri, could you please help me with that?
Sure, Dolly. Okay, we can close the poll now. Dolly, 69% people say that they are involving their sales managers and 31% say that they aren't. So with that, I think you can move on to the next step.
Thank you. So this is very interesting. Actually, this very well leads to our following discussion. So like I was just saying, once they complete the milestone, they have one more step before they're certified. And at this step, sorry, I'm just trying to click. Yeah. So at this step, newly joined sales reps, sales performance and managers' input is also considered before they can be certified. Now, I will show you how managers are empowered with data and analytics, which helps them understand the progress and journey of the reps and also give them personalized coaching based on that. So let me take you through that. So tracking progress journey for a cohort from start to finish, as it's on its own, it's very complex. Now imagine when you have people joining on different days of the month. So John here joins on the 1st of the month, Olivia joins on 11th, Tony joins on 16th, and so on. Now what Stream does, it enables managers to have visibility on who is joining when. So manager clearly can see the joining date, or the first day of John is 1st of the month. However, first day of Olivia is 11th of the month. So in streams gives very clear visibility to managers. Not just that, manager also can get into detail analysis for each of those individual reps journey. For example, here manager would see that John has completed all the milestones and also certified, whereas Olivia has completed milestone 1 to milestone 3, but sales performance is not up to the mark. In this case, customer had three criteria to measure sales performance of the reps, newly joined reps. One, the attendance. Two, the customer facing time. Three, the number of customers they were meeting. So since streams allows tracking, systematic tracking of all the activity, manager was able to see specific of these progress and where exactly Olivia needs help and where is she falling behind. So these information allowed and enabled manager to give personalized coaching to Olivia to move forward to the next steps. Similarly, manager have visibility to all their individual sales reps journey, and they're able to give personalized coaching to each of them in timely manner, because all this information is real time available for them. Managers can track the progress of their team and individual on their app as well. So they can see the different activities which they have been assigned, whether they have completed or not. So for example, they can see a video pitch has been assigned to this person, and this is the video have been submitted. So they could give feedback on that to the individual person. They can also see what are the skills where the person needs help. So again, manager can send a nudge or give personalized coaching on that part. Not just this, manager can track progress of individuals' learning progress against a ideal sales rep progress. With that, person is newly joined rep, new hire, has completed all the milestones. Their sales performance and manager inputs are considered, and now finally they can be certified. When they're certified, let's look at how exactly this customer is implementing or has set up this completion of course. So at this stage, when rep is certified, they are given certificate and badges to keep and share with everybody. They also get additional recognition and certificate if they get 100% score in all 3 milestones. So with that, newly joined rep has completed the onboarding process. Once stream onboarding process was enabled, it was easy for customer to compare the result versus the older mechanism of onboarding. Let's look at the results now. Earlier, there was no visibility into individuals' progress, right? Now, with streams, they were able to look at individuals' progress, and also they're able to compare their journey with ideal sales reps. A lot of times, as people progresses on their journey, you are able to see the insights on what are the topics or what are the skills they are good at and where they're lagging behind. So some of these, for example, you find out selling a skill is something they're not so good at. You can create a new module to explain those topics in more details and see whether that helps person to improve their skill. So basically, these kind of data-driven approach and actions can be taken by you. Earlier, when they did not have standard onboarding process, their productivity, time to productivity was around 3 to 6 months. And obviously, because there was no process and whatever it was very ad hoc. Now with streams, with a standard automated onboarding process, that 3 months has been reduced to 1 month. Right. So now on an average, person person takes around 1 month of time to start being productive. As reps completes their onboarding journey, they continue to refresh and retain their knowledge on Streams platform. They continue using the app. What we have seen, they have improved the knowledge retention up to 80%. During onboarding process, they're also taught, we saw it in induction milestone as well, right? They're taught about the sales process and sales tools which they use, and what are the best practices to use them. For example, they would be using a tool, maybe Salesforce, for taking orders, or some tool for planning journeys, doing journey plans. So we taught them as part of this training and onboarding process on what are the best practices of using these processes. And what we saw, this resulted to improve their compliance up to 90%. Now, just to summarize, how streams help this customer solve these onboarding challenges which they had. First of all, like we just saw, now they don't have to worry when person is joining. The whole process is automated. Anytime reps joins, their journey starts from day one, right? And self-paced learning allows them to refresh and retain their knowledge, which really helps them continue to improve their knowledge on different skill sets which they should have. All these data and insights and visibility to the managers allows them to take timely action and give personalized coaching to the individuals and get very involved in the whole process. What we also saw, customer now started tracking important metrics like time to productivity, which was not possible earlier with them. They are able to plan and improve the skills over time. And on top of all of these, a layer of gamification was added to make sure reps are engaged and motivated throughout this process. That's it from my side. I hope you found it useful. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat box.
Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, Raghu. We have some questions for you in the chat box. Any more questions, please send in. Raghu, the first question is for you. How do you measure the time of productivity of your sales reps from day one?
So my response to that would be two-layered. The first one is don't expect productivity from day one. Allow the person to settle down. Whatever is the reasonable duration that you can give. Okay, so it could be like halfway through the onboarding process. It could be the first 1 or 2 weeks. Person understands the context and the location or the distribution setup that he is working with. And post that, you can start measuring his productivity parameters.
Just to add to what Raghu was saying, Streams enables and configures the system to align with the business process of the customer. What that means, that it is basically integrated with their whole sales process. So we are able to track individuals' actions and all the activities they're performing as part of the sales process. So you can accurately measure now how long are they taking, where they need support to improve.
Thank you, Raghu. Thank you, Dolly. The next question is by Rahul. He's asking what kind of KPIs can be set for new hires in the first 3 months, lead or lag? Dolly, would you like to take that up?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Rahul. So, like Raghu also mentioned, right? We can't expect them to start being productive from day one. But it is very important to start tracking KPIs from day one. That is why, as part of the system setup, we also align on the KPIs with customer on what they exactly would like to track. And a lot of times this is different for different customers, right? But in this case, where I talked about the case study, this customer was tracking number one, completion of the training. Number two, they were tracking whether they are able to score and get the threshold number of scores for those assessments which they were given. The third, they were also tracking whether their attendance is up to the mark. The fourth, they were also tracking the time they were spending at customers, with the customers when they are meeting them. The last one, the fifth KPI they were tracking is the fifth. There was one more track KPI which they were tracking, which I'm forgetting now. I'm sorry, but these are some of the KPIs which are tracked.
Thank you, Dolly. We have one more question, and this is again for you. Sushmita is asking, how does this model framework help in speeding up onboarding? I think both of you can kind of give your inputs on that.
So, first of all, like we said, right, streams allows your sales rep to get started on day one. So rep does not have to wait or are not left at the mercy of time availability of managers and trainers. So they are given access to the platform on day one. So they have everything they need to know on the platform, which they can start learning. So this is how Streams actually enables both companies and reps to get started on day one.
And I would add to what Dolly was saying, in the sense that given the busy schedules of most managers, right, it's quite possible that the actual face-to-face might even happen after the onboarding horizon is over. But you can get the rep started right from day one instead of waiting for the schedules to open up and for them to start their formal induction process. So technology as well as the team's framework would allow them to start their onboarding while certain mandatory activities are waiting for schedules to resolve themselves.
Okay. If there aren't any more questions, I think we're right on time. So thank you, Dolly. Thank you, Raghu. That was great. I hope our audience got some really nice insights and they were benefited from the webinar. Thank you, everyone, for joining. You will be receiving the recording link and the slides in your email. We look forward to seeing you again in our next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.